I'm glad to see such a very good turnout tonight. I'm glad to see some of the realty companies here as well. And some of the folks have vacation rentals and concerned citizens of Mexico Beach. This is a town hall meeting format. I'm a moderator. It's not an exchange with council and all that kind of thing. What we had you come here for is to make sure that the council knows everyone's point of view about our sanitation ordinance. A little bit of preface to put everybody on the same sheet. We have 3 funds in the here in Mexico Beach that are called enterprise funds. An enterprise fund is a business between the citizens and the government of the city. Those funds are funded very simply. It costs this much to transact the business for the city, and that's what we charge the citizens based on who signs up for the service. Those 3 funds are water, sewer, and sanitation. We're here tonight to talk about sanitation primarily, but all 3 funds work exactly the same. So what do we actually pay for in sanitation? We are a retail customer of Bay County. We use Waste Pro, who is a retail customer of Bay County, and all of our garbage goes to Bay County. So the $55 a ton that we pay for that garbage goes there. Then we have to buy trucks to go around and pick up the garbage. We have to have men that work on the trucks to pick up the garbage. And the overhead that goes with all of that is part of the big pie. That's a very, very simple concept. This is a very easy business, because actually how that works is whatever it costs is what you divide up, and that's what you pay. About 8 months ago, we learned that we had miscalculated, previous council had miscalculated how much money that was going to cost for the 2013-14 year. And we actually came out about $100,000 short of what it cost. Well, by law, we can't spend enterprise funds for something that they're not intended for. In other words, sanitation funds have to be spent for sanitation. But we had to augment our sanitation fund out of the general fund, which is your ad valorem taxes that everybody gets a bill for. We had to augment that fund, and what we attempted to do was not only recover the $100,000 we lost, but we also sat down for nearly 6 months talking about how can we do garbage smarter for the same money. And in sanitation, it also includes our roadside debris pickup. Now, how many people think we've done a good job on roadside debris in the last 15 years? Oh, great, thanks all 4 of you. We realize that. We realize that. The big plan was kind of simple. If we could get the garbage guys a little more time to pick up roadside, especially on Wednesday, or get through a little early and pick up some in the afternoon, that would really help that problem that we have. Because we all want to continue roadside pickup and not do what Gulf County has done and just say, it's on you, not our problem anymore. That's not a good way to do it. It's not. We have a small city. It's very doable. We've got to figure out how to do that better. So that's where we kind of went with the sanitation ordinance changes. Past that, I'm not going to prophesy what was good or what was bad, or why it didn't work or why it did work, or has it made a difference or it hasn't made a difference. You don't even have to stand up at this meeting. I simply want to entertain any comment that anyone would like to make about sanitation. Whether you like the old system, whether you like the new system, if you got a better idea, we really want to hear. If you got a better idea how to make it better, easier, and more cost efficient, we'd certainly like to hear that. So at this time, I'd open the floor up for anyone who wants to speak in place.
Tom, you might want to explain, the old and the new is kind of the same again. The new system is the same as the old because there's a repeal of 636.
Okay. Right now, it went into effect on the 1st of June, was a change. We went from backdoor service to curbside. That was really the only change that anybody has noticed up to now. And then before the 4th of July, the council did an emergency ordinance actually repealing the new curbside pickup and going back to back door to give us an additional 90 days to go back and work on this ordinance. If it needs to be changed, it can be changed. And right now, that's why the garbage guys, if you didn't get your trash out, they're coming to your back door and picking it up. That's why they're coming to the back door. We kind of only set aside that small part. There are other parts of the ordinance that we did not change, like we had to look at how much we were charging commercial customers. We found out we used to pick up an extra dumpster of trash for $10. Obviously, that's one reason we lost money in that kind of thing. We didn't change any of that. We didn't change any of that. So all of that's still in place. Now,
I have a question on, I understand that some of the double homeowners and so forth, you see that a lot of the homes that's not in use are not paying their fee for garbage, water, and service. In other words, so that particular part of our should be by everyone, that every home, every business in town should be paying that, whether the home is occupied or whether it's not occupied. Have we got a problem straightening that out?
I know most of you don't know what Chuck's talking about. Is it the pleasure of this group that I answer some of these questions?
Yes.
I'm seeing a lot of yes. What Chuck is talking about, out of your $109 they all pay, $110 we all pay, previously we calculated the debt service to pay for the water pipes and the sewer pipes that we put in 1999 and finished again in 2015. That cost everybody on the system, 2,112 customers, $110 a month, or it costs $26 a month just to pay the debt service, just to pay the debt service. Then there's overhead operating expenses that everybody pays, and then you pay about 99 cents for a gallon of 100 gallons of water and 100 gallons of sewer. That's the usage charge. It all goes into that, and then garbage costs about $27. But what Chuck is talking about, in the past, let's say my neighbor, and my neighbor's a good example. They're a two-home family. They do not rent their home. They come down here about 4 or 5 months out of the year, and it's usually in the summertime. They turn their water on, and they get water, garbage, and sanitation services while they're here. Then they turn it off. Chuck's point, and what I want everyone to understand, what happens to their overhead operating expense that they should be paying, like Chuck and I, who live here all the time? Should they not have to pay the debt service, $26, and the overhead operating of the system that goes with all these services, even if they're not here? Can they save a bunch of money from $110 if they have to go back to, and by the way, that number for water and sewer combined is $56. That's what it costs 2,112 people each month for this system to operate. Okay, and beyond that is usage. But is it right for them to not pay the debt service and the overhead for the system because they're not full-time? They are in fact corporate citizens of Mexico Beach. And that is actually driving some of the rates that we all pay as full-time people. If you're here 12 months, you may not use all your 4,000 gallons, but you're paying your full share the whole time, where these folks are paying 4, 5, 6, 7 months out of the year. And that could come out, for $50 a month, a year, $600, that the system falls short, and that drives rates. So are we looking at that right now? Yes, we are. And we're doing it during the budget process, is when we actually got serious talking about that.
What are you charging these people to go out and cut it off and cut it back on?
Only $15.
That's ridiculous. You can't even pay a man in a truck to go out there one way.
That's great. We looked at that. We charge him $40 to turn it back on if it's over a month. So we have adjusted, we've seen that through time, but still, 15 and 40, that's still only debt service and operating expense for 1 month. So we're absolutely working on that. Now, what I'm talking about, that doesn't have anything to do with sanitation while we're here tonight. Sanitation has no debt service. We don't owe anybody anything on sanitation. It is a self-operating fund, and it has overhead. It has all those components I talked about that cost us money. But we are simply a retail customer of where we take the garbage to. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mayor, I've lived here since 1998, and only, I'd say probably in the last couple of years, have we had a problem with our service being not what it used to be. When I say what it used to be, I could depend on every other Wednesday. I mean, it was clockwork. I didn't have to call the city, that our yard debris was picked up here in the city. For some reason, I do not know why we have cut back problem. But 70% of my neighborhood are weekend residents. It does create a problem then. I would suggest, and you asked a suggestion, that we put some kind of flag on the mailbox area right there. When they go out of town and they don't have garbage, raise that up so our guys don't have to go to the backyard. If it's down, they know that they've got to pick up garbage. But that's a way for the garbage truck when he comes in to see that the people living in that residence have garbage for them. And that would cut back a lot of manpower and time. Our garbage men are the hardest working employees the city has, and probably the least paid. So they really work hard, they do a good job, and in the past, the garbage department always made money. I don't know why we're not making money now. These are questions only y'all can answer, but if we need more employees, more trucks to do the job, then we as citizens are gonna have to cough it up to pay for it. We don't need to overwork our employees to the extent that we don't have anybody picking up now. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, I will make one comment that we have has everybody seen the big black truck from time to time? The big black truck, they do a real good job. That's Mark Garrison's operation out of between here and Wewell. And Mark has given us a real competitive rate to pick up. For example, he covered the entire city 3 days before the 4th of July, and literally on the 3rd, we had no garbage anywhere, debris beside the road anywhere in town because he picked it up. We've actually we're waiting Mark to get back in town this week. We're going to talk to him about actually taking that part off the garbage guys and contracting that out. If they can do it faster, cheaper than we can do it, then that would do. That way we give our garbage guys more time. Why are the garbage guys not getting it done? And I have no numbers, no hard numbers to tell you. We have more vacation rentals in Mexico Beach right now than we've ever had. I've got people that are in condos saying they're violating our condo rules by having 10 and 12 residents in our condo. We've got places down here that pick up the trash on Thursday and the residents leave, and there's 3 or 4 or 5, 6, and one place allegedly has 10 cans of garbage that they have. Well, we're allowed 3. That's something else we're looking at. You know, some of those rentals, that if they'll hold 10 or 12 people, maybe they need to be a light commercial operation if they have that much garbage, instead of us trying to keep up with counting cans.
Yeah, but the vacation rentals is the only industry that Mexico Beach has for all of the businesses here. And there's the people that come here that service those businesses, and we have to support those now. You'll find that the majority of us older residents here, like Gary and quite a few others, we put our garbage out there for them anyway on Mondays and Thursdays or Wednesdays whenever we have, and we get our cans back. But as soon as you pass that ordinance, then we had garbage strewn all up and down the highway and on all the streets, and Mexico Beach just became a garbage dump, you see, and that's the reason that I'm really opposed to that ordinance of put your garbage out on the, and I talked to the majority of the garbage workers. They tell me they don't have a problem, you know, going around behind the house, except they do have a problem with 37th Street, and so does everybody else with it.
Sir.
In regard to the 10 garbage cans that you said there are certain rental places, I'm an old designer, there are design guides for how much garbage should be generated by so many people in a dwelling or an apartment. And I think what you need to do is get our engineer to come up with how much garbage should be generated depending on how many people are in there. I know there are some houses that will accommodate 10 adults, and Lord knows how many children, and they're marketed that way. And those people, in my opinion, should be paying for the extra garbage cans to accommodate the extra people that they're housing there.
I agree, and we do have a methodology for that. It actually says that we charge them $10 a can. In my mind, I don't know if that loop is getting closed between the garbage man who picked it up and accounting. In my mind, I don't know that. So,
In regards to the gentleman's comment, I think something else to consider on those rentals is, we used to rent our house, I'm a full-time resident, so I'll take mine to the curb, no problem. The rentals aren't occupied all the time, so in those weeks that they're not occupied, those guys are just driving by and they're not touching it. So if they've got 10 cans, they're supposed to have 3, it only takes 1 week and they're back to our normal amount. And then the next week's a bonus, and it's the same for the second homeowners who aren't down here. If they're down here 3 weeks during the major holidays, a week, you know, that's 6 pickups. They come 10 other times, spend a long weekend. That's less than 20 pickups a year that we're having to do for those places. And they're paying the same amount of money that the rest of us are paying. So I think as we work through this, to ask them to pay more because they need side yard pickup or something, I don't think it's right, because we're getting a lot of free trash, non-use from those people that are second homes and they're not there and they're not creating that trash. So I think that's something we should keep in mind.
Well, I think, to be fair about that, my house has 2 people in it. You know, so we don't, I put my garbage cans out probably 1 day a week. So we're not getting full service all the time, but that's just, I just suck it up and pay for it. And I think the people who rent houses and who are not here, you know, most of the year, that's just the price they pay for renting houses and not being here most of the year.
Right, but I think there's been some discussion about charging more for backdoor pickup and curbside pickup, and I don't think that's right.
you think it should stay the same rate?
Second homes, we're all a community, it should be the same.
Justin, can I put you on the spot? I mean, you got a lot of vacation rentals here in town. You've got houses, you've got condos, you've got everything. Justin Garrett, Pristine Realty, if you don't know it.
Yeah.
His car is the yellow, never mind.
It's around a lot.
Well, and I have a unique perspective because not only do we manage properties in Bay County, Mexico Beach, but in Gulf County as well. And so we have 2 offices, one out in the Cape, one out here. So I'm used to the system out here, and I'm used to Gulf County and all the fun that we have there with trash. Like I said before, Mexico Beach is a shining example of what trash service should be in a community, especially in a rental situation. Never once did we ever, that I can think of, had an issue with sanitation when it came to Mexico Beach. Gulf County is something I deal with on a weekly basis, for the most part. We do have the unique situation there because we are contracted out through Waste Pro as customers, as chosen by the county to designate, to have optional services there. One of which is a backdoor service that we pay the additional for. One is to have additional cans that we pay for in addition to the normal service. And one of the other options that we choose as a company is to pay for a twice-a-week service during certain times of the year versus just a standard once-a-week service. Unlike Bay County, we only, out there, you only have service once a week unless you pay for an additional week, additional day for the trash service to come. So, you know, the common theme is always, well, the vacation rental property owners are making a bunch of money renting their house. You know, let's put the extra burden, the extra cost on them if they're the ones making money out of it. And to some degree, that's absolutely true. But to this gentleman's point, there's a lot of times when they're not making money, that they're paying for the service that everybody else is paying for that's not happening. Now, we do have a unique situation out there as well, which is completely wrong that Gulf County does not require citizens to have trash service, which is a whole other problem on itself, because I might be paying for it, and the 20 weeks out of the year that I'm not using it, my gentleman next door, I'm going to pick on you, he might be using my trash service that he's not paying for, you know, in my can. So that's another thing we have to come across. But I think that having that additional backdoor service is a huge thing. I think not having it for that small period of time that we didn't showed a lot of perspective of what the problems could be that would happen. But if push came to shove, as a rental company, I would rather have to pay for that service than not have that service at all.
I've been putting Jack off for a while.
Being a shining example. The sanitation services we've had here have been exemplary. The people that do it are wonderful people. And it's a quality of life for it. We've had it for decades. We like it. We want it that way.
Yes, yes.
We don't, and you,
Hold that choir down over here, Chuck.
other than decreasing the quality of life, you're gonna have to make all kinds of exceptions. Even in the letter that you sent out to everybody, you said you were making exceptions for the elderly, for the handicapped. Well, you shouldn't have to make exceptions. You ought to be providing that service to everybody. And I think that what we had before the new 633 ordinance is what we should do back to.
Okay.
Just in response, my suggestion, I didn't say what I intended to say very well. I don't intend to load up the garbage costs for the city of Mexico Beach on the people that have rental properties. What I want to do is figure out what is a fair price for them to pay and charge them that.
Yeah, I think we understood that. Yes, Mary?
Can I ask Justin a follow-up question? Mary Blackburn, Justin. You said you deal with garbage problems every day out there on the Cape. What are those problems?
There's a number of them. We have backdoor pickup. In Gulf County, we have what is deemed the tourist corridor, which is basically the main highway, Highway 98, Cape San Blas Road, Indian Pass Road. You have certain regulations on those roads that you don't have in other roads within Gulf County. So pickup days are different. So we deal with missed pickups because someone won't have a trash can out at the curb and it won't get picked up. And then of course the truck goes by and someone calls, hey, my trash didn't get picked up. The trash wasn't at the curb, that's why it didn't get picked up. But so we have missed pickup situations. Again, we have missed can situations or misplacement of cans. We've had to go so far as, and with permission of Waste Pro, we have a starfish as part of our logo in our company. We have spray painted big starfishes on all of our cans to try to be able to at least identify them if you're just driving by, to know this is not one of my houses that I rent. However, there's a starfish can sitting in front of that house, and that happens. I mean, I could count a dozen of them on any given day. Again, not an issue that Mexico Beach has, but those are specific issues that we deal with most frequently.
Okay, and you attribute that because it's contracted service, so they're not quite as maybe, they don't pay attention as much to the, so would you attribute that to?
Absolutely. I mean, I think part of that is certainly because it's contracted labor. And I think that some of that also is attributed to the options that are available, the a la carte options that people can choose from. It puts more burden on the worker to try to understand the system of what's going on. And I'm sure that from an operational standpoint, I can see how that's a nightmare.
Right, yeah, and I understand that you have quite a large population too. One more, can I do one more?
Sure.
And because I think he's a very good source of information because he's seeing all sides. He's seeing all sides of the sanitation problem. So backdoor pickup is an optional service for an additional fee. And is that working? Has it contributed to people selling their rentals, not making money on rentals or anything like that? Has it taken a hit on the
Yes, sir.
Yes, to answer his question he had or comment, I happen to have a rental unit. And if anybody think I'm getting rich, I'm more than happy to let them have it. So they can see me after the meeting. On top of that, you say the rental people should pay more. Could you tell me how much money you're getting out of the dead tax from Bay County?
We're paying that.
We are paying that, and we are paying more than the rest of them.
I can tell you exactly. The city of Mexico Beach enjoyed 8% of the proceeds of the bed tax last year. That amount was about $600,000, and the CDC shared about 8% of that with the city. This year,
I say we're paying more.
this year, I think that the CDC may be a lot more interested in helping us with some of the infrastructure of the city or projects in the city that normally the taxpayer would pay for. That's my impression so far this year, because they're already entertaining several requests that we've already made of them, and we will also benefit from the bed tax. I too am a bed tax partner, with just one, but gee, that business created over $1,000 in bed tax last year. And I'm not making anything either, if it helps your feelings, but it rents. People come to Mexico Beach, it rents.
We can't raise our rates on the kind of dead tax and the other.
That's right.
Going up.
That 11.5% hurts. I won't even go into my opinion about that, but 5% extra on that bill, I think may actually hurt some rentals sometime. I really do. Yes, sir.
Got a question pertaining to the sanitation. The tipping fees that you said you pay so much per ton or whatever, everything goes over to the incinerator of Bay County. Doesn't Gulf County have an incinerator that you utilize that's a lot closer than going way over off 231?
We don't have to always go to 231. We have an option of delivering our trash to a Waste Pro transfer station, like the one in Gulf County. And they've just built a new one out at 5 Points, if you haven't seen it. And we can dump out there into the transfer station, or we can carry it directly to the incinerator. So we do take advantage of that. The stuff we dump out here is going to the incinerator as well. For those of you who don't know, that is our recycling program in Bay County. The incinerator burns garbage, generates electricity that we all use. And that is the state-approved recycling program for Bay County.
We use Duke Power here.
But they generate power and sell it on the grid.
Not Florida Power.
You know, at the last meeting you had here, it was discussed maybe make an exception for 37th Street. 37th Street is a very unique street. It brings in more visitors in that, and even the locals in that from everywhere else, and that we've got traffic coming in there continuously. We do short-term rentals, 3-night minimum, and that, so we're turning them over in that there. The garbage cans, and who come down on that street. The garbage cans are out there. They decide to throw their baby diapers into their cigarette ashtrays in their cars, and then they're putting in our trash cans up and down there. Well, you're taking up my space for my tenants, you know, and that when I've got everybody else's garbage and their drinks and so forth thrown into my container. And that, so that's a problem too. Didn't have that problem when it was in the backyard. And that, so, I'm just begging you people to please take a look at 37th Street. It's different. It brings in a lot of money for the city.
There are several streets that are different.
Yes, there are.
There are several streets, there are several places that are different, and that's true in every town.
You just got to
And-
realize that here, what it brings in.
I understand. And I understand that all these 2,112 people pay the same property taxes based on the value of their property, whether it's a rental or you live in it. I understand. It gets complicated when you say, well, 37th Street's not included. How about if we say, every tourist residential house is not included? Every tourist residential zone is not included.
Exceptions for the handicap and all of this. These poor garbage men, how in the world are they supposed to know this house here, he's handicapped? This lady can't get out to the, there's no way in the world that that's going to work. And, you know, Jerry might have had a good idea about a flag, I don't know, in a situation like this, but you're not going to make that exception work. I think it's already been tried and proven that it didn't. And the garbage can situation all out in front on the right of ways, it is not working.
Okay, hold that thought.
I've heard several people say that, talking about increasing the rate for those that want backdoor service. Is that, I don't recall that even being talked about, but I've heard several people here say that. Is that a consideration, that if you want backdoor service, that your rate will increase, or is that just something that people are thinking is gonna happen? I'll answer that.
You certainly can answer that. We're open to every suggestion.
So you're not talking about raising the rates if you want backdoor service, or is that just something that's?
Well, actually, yes, I absolutely raised that as an option.
Okay.
Because we're trying to come up with options. I called 12 cities. The majority of the cities, all of them, actually have curbside service and then have an additional fee for the backdoor service, just like Waste Pro offers out there at the Gulf. So I think that's that.
Because, I mean, how do the Gulf even know?
They can't cross on the door.
Skeleton.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I can tell you how Waste Pro, I know how Waste Pro does it, but they're pretty automated. The smaller, the smaller cities, no. But Tom had sort of a good idea. You could do it where it's west side, east side. It's not something that cannot be overcome because there are many coastal towns that have lots of vacation rentals and townhomes that have to pick up garbage. Garbage is not an abnormality. So it's something that can be handled. They all do it. They all pick it up. People tend to survive there. And those cities, those coastal towns are thriving just as Mexico Beach. So it is something that has to be worked out, and we have to have compromises, which is the point of this meeting, and it's all very helpful to get your ideas and suggestions, but certainly it's not an insurmountable task here.
One more, to tie back to 37th Street and what she was saying. There are some full-time residents on 37th Street. And there are a lot of vacation rentals on 37th Street. In my little one block where I live, there are 12 lots. There are 2 vacation rentals, and I live in the regular residential section, not tourist residential. There's 2 vacation rentals, and there are 3 residents, and everybody else are weekenders. So I understand what you're saying. You have a difficult street. But even what we're saying, I live in a residential street, but only 3 people live on that out of 12 lots. So where do you divide it? We're looking for ideas, because that's true all over town. It's true all over town. Yes, yes, ma'am.
I'm in the same Longview Culver back here on 37th Street. And what I'm seeing is the mix of some cans out front and some in the back since you changed the ordinance. Those out front are a much bigger problem. Harder to clean up, they're overflowing. In the backyard, everything is in a bag. All the guys have to do is come through and pick up the bags. And we see that the tenants do the same thing. So it's actually easier for them to just come down the road and pick up that bag than it is to deal with all those cans and trash piles out front. Plus, it's unsightly, very unsightly.
Okay.
So we've got a mixture of the two going right now, which is not helping.
Now, when the ordinance is finalized, once again, there's not going to be a mix. It's
Don't need it.
not like that, what you're talking about. It's not going to be a mix. Yes, ma'am.
I see a problem on our street. We are probably the only full-time resident. And the rest of the people are weekenders. And they put their garbage out when they leave. One family in particular. And they usually have 2 or 3 cans. Because they usually have a lot of stuff that goes on over there while they're there. One time, the bears got into their garbage. They brought it over to our yard, had a smorgasbord under our tree, and we had to clean that up. But usually, it's just all over the yard. It blows. If there's a storm, it blows all over. We picked it up. The garbage men had to pick it up. Those people need to be assessed. To me, as far as I'm concerned, they need to get a letter saying either take your garbage with you. They all have pickup trucks, so there's no reason they can't take it with them. The people next door to us take their garbage home because they know what the problem is. They've seen it. And they either can leave it there and pay extra for the people that have to pick it up, or take it with them and they wouldn't have that problem. But I don't think it's fair for the garbage men to have to come down the street and pick it up from all over their yard or all over the street. You know, that's not right either.
They do that.
And they do that, and their garbage men are good about that.
Did everybody hear what she was saying? And it's basically weekenders, residents of Mexico Beach, just weekend residents. They'll come and they'll put their stuff out as a good faith effort to help the garbage
They
guys.
don't even put cabinets.
But sometimes it don't have lids on it, the trash gets thrown, and it's a problem even when they're just trying to do a good faith effort. And that's because it's been before June, that happened too, right?
That's the biggest advantage. I mean, I'm not too lazy to take my garbage out to the street, and I don't object to doing that, but the biggest advantage I can see to requiring people to build something that's out of sight, that will contain the garbage cans, so the wind doesn't blow them over, and the raccoon, you're not gonna do it for bears, but raccoons and those kind of animals don't get in and strew it everywhere. There's a big advantage to having something like that for all the garbage cans disposed throughout the city, as far as the appearance of the town is concerned.
I think a letter to
If
the
you have
people,
space for that.
you know, maybe a letter to weekend people, maybe to everybody, and say, if you're weekenders, here's a suggestion, either take your garbage with you if you leave on Sunday, or whenever, or you're gonna end up paying the extra fee.
Help me out. Does not our ordinance now require a rack to store garbage cans in to keep them from getting blown away?
No, it doesn't say it has to be, but it does say that if you have one, it's got to be the side of your house or the rear.
Okay, so the ordinance just says garbage out of sight, side or rear. Okay.
Which it is.
Now, most of us who live here do have that, yes.
In changing this ordinance, it's more like you cut your nose off, spite your face. We never had this problem before. Now we got an eyesore. It's because the way it's changed. In my neighborhood, everybody, and full-time residents, just about everybody, they move their garbage can out to the side of the road on garbage day. The ones you had the problem with is our rentals,
There's no impact fee on sanitation
The houses that are built, don't they pay an impact fee?
for water and sewer,
Yeah.
but not sanitation.
That it can't be intermarried.
But we can't mix the funds. Sewer is sewer, water is water, and garbage is garbage.
So couldn't you help out the other two?
Sounds like a great idea. We have a lot of money in the sewer fund, but that's not how it works, so we just can't.
I like the old one.
So you're saying that it's not in the ordinance that everybody needs a bin, either on the side, and maybe everybody needs to provide a bin on the side of the house or the back, so the cans can be put back in something. We do.
And many do.
What do you think, Mayor? Well,
Y'all got differences, like.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Like me, I have a big problem. My containers out front, most of the houses on 98 are out front. They're not ugly, they're attractive, big like a garbage can. You tell me I gotta put it on the side or the back, I'm gonna be on the beach. I don't have a side. Maybe I have to put enclosures. But if you ride down 98, start looking at all the enclosures that they have in front of their houses, because 98, you're saying 37 is different, 98 is different. You don't have X amount of room. So when I wrote down 3 or 4 days just to try to study this, figure it out. I don't see anything ugly with those enclosures being in front of those houses in 98. They built really attractive enclosures.
Some of them are ugly. you know.
Well, I'm not-
Some of them are.
Majority.
If you live across from Dollar General, those units like that, I can understand what you're saying. I've been over there the last 2 days, all the way down to it. And it's a couple that come through there and pulls garbage cans back up to the little shooting pool where you take garbage cans. They got some big, nice road wheel garbage cans like I have in my home. I can understand that. If you put them in the back, you be on the beach. That's true.
I mean, so, there again, you're gonna have another exception.
We don't have side alleys on 37th Street either. There's only a few townhomes on that street that has a side. The rest of us, we don't have that. So it's, and on the left-hand side of the street, there's electrical boxes in that sit out there. We have no room to build a receptacle to sit out there in front. There's just no room.
Yeah,
We've got a number of problems over there.
I'm lucky to be the guy who's been in and around town, in and out of every alley, backyard, side yard, and everything. And I'm super aware of 37th and 38th Street because I've worked there. I mean, Justin run my legs off. I hated 37th Street because I had to carry my equipment all the way around the building and come through 9 gates to get to the back. I get it. Garbage men hate that too. People who live there hate that too. They don't want to bring it around either. I get it. That's why we changed the ordinance years ago to allow townhomes to only be a maximum of 100 feet wide, and then there has to be an access way. That's why other streets aren't as crowded as 37th and 38th Street and those hooked together things. I'm glad to see some people going, that's right, you're right about that. So, yeah, it is unique. It is. The amount of trash is not going to change.
There's nothing you can do but go back in the back and get it, or do it, and I'll have these cans sitting out there on the right of way, which there's no room. It's just no room.
And I'm just saying, don't make 98 trashy. And if you want every trash can on 98, we're gonna have a lot of trash and it's
That's what
gonna be
we
very
have on 37th
unsightly.
Street. Sounds like it.
Yes, Lisa.
Going back to the bin idea, I've been here 15 years, and when I came, 15 years ago, the majority of houses had the corrals, the bin corrals, out at the road. And then some years ago, it was determined that they were ugly and it was unsightly, and so they were, by ordinance, supposed to take them off of all the streets. It wasn't just 98, it was every street had the corrals out at the street. And it was easy for the garbage men to pick all that stuff up. Then it was determined they were unsightly, so ordinance said take them off. Well, of course, most people didn't take them off the road, so you have this very strange mix all over town of bins here, bins there, bins in the back. Perhaps
you're correct about that. There was actually an ordinance somewhere back in the past that I read. There's an ordinance back there that actually said, if you bring them to the road, we're going to give you a ticket. Do you remember that? It's after they moved the cans back to the back.
But that didn't
And
happen.
that didn't happen. And you're right. There is no, I guarantee you one thing, there's no one solution for our town. There's no one solution. Before we asked you to bring it to the street, it was already a hodgepodge of everything out there. Everybody realizes that. You know, back door, whether it's back door or curbside, it still is a hodgepodge, because places like 98 that your house literally backs up to the dune, you can't put them behind, and if you don't have an elevated house, you can't put it under. And, you know, it's kind of a catch-22. 37th Street, yes, those houses are all hooked together, and on 37th Street, we tried a dumpster in the middle. We tried trash cans at the end of the building in the little walk-through in times past. I can't remember all those things, but I reviewed a lot of those things, and every one of them was a failure on 37th Street. I guess back door is probably the best.
I've lived here 26 years, and we went through all these different scenarios. The one we had prior to you guys changing it, messing it up, is working just fine. I'm like Al Cat. Who come up here and complain you guys did this to start? Did you have a bunch of complaints?
No, we didn't. We had a financial problem.
Why didn't we do it wrong? There's one way that you can correct your financial problems, is look where you're spending your money and how you're spending your money. If the garbage people need more money, you need to give them more money. Where do you get your money? I'd be glad to pay a little bit more on my tax. But let's leave it alone. Let's don't screw it up just for the sake of change.
I want you to write down every thing he said in the paper. We can raise taxes and increase the garbage fees.
The only problem with that is to give you guys a way to get in my pocketbook, and you gonna get there, and you won't just take what you need, you take what you'd like to have.
Well, no, I don't think we're trying to do that. Right now, we're in budget talks. We've already gone through 2 weeks of budget talks. We are trying our darndest not to raise taxes one penny, and we're trying our best not to raise any water. Sewer went up 28 cents because Bay County sent us a bill, but otherwise, we're trying to hold the line all the way across the board. We're really trying to do that.
I'm just gonna mention, I think somebody brought the issue up that there was like 50-something new houses that started in the last 2 years, and there's how many more is coming. That's additional revenue, Tom, and, you know, you've gotta look at the amount of money that's gonna come in, and you talk about buying a new garbage truck or adding garbage people. You need to take a look at what the revenue is gonna be coming in on all these new houses. These people, like you say, they pay an impact fee for water and sewer, but they don't pay anything for garbage. But still, those impact fees add up. So I know you're not supposed to use the impact fees for water and sewer for the garbage thing, but, you know, maybe that might take a resolution or something changing. If you've got an excess amount of money here and a shortfall of money here, then why not balance it out?
Well, that's actually, that's a state statute. We can't mess with that one. But that's a good point about the houses. Every brand new house has 3 garbage cans that are picked up twice a week. So that's 50 times 3 times 2. So those same garbage guys are catching another 300 cans a week, and we still got the same assets.
That's what I said, hire a new garbage truck, get a new garbage truck. You know, use the type of canister that necessary require the people to get one of those cans that can be lifted, just like Waste Pro uses.
We're on the same sheet of music. We're buying a brand new truck this year. It's time to buy one, and this has a tipper on it. We don't know if we're going to get cans to go, or people to go to 96-gallon cans, but here's a thought to put in the back of your head. Right now, we're picking up 332s twice a week. You're getting a 96 once a week. That's only half of the garbage picked up. And it's going to sit there. If we go to that system, we can still pick up twice as far as that goes. Personally, I would rather have a 96-gallon can at my house. I'd rather roll it out there and roll it back personally. Might even be good for my neighbor's cans who I carry back and forth from time to time. But again, those weekender guys, they can't do it, and the rental guys can't do it. So we got to have the mix somewhere, and we're listening to everything you're saying. But yeah, we're kind of with you on that. Work smarter and not harder.
How many people want to go back like it was, and how many people want to change it?
Well, I can ask that question in this meeting.
I know.
How many wants to go back to the way it was? How many people want to change it? Now, let me repeat something I said this week. Gee, let me write the minutes to this meeting, and then we'll go from there. Rex.
The last sanitation increase, what percent was it?
The last sanitation increase?
Anybody know what it was?
13%.
13%, Jack knows that.
The problem I have is I'm two people. I generate 2 bags a week. And I don't, that's fine. I want to have the option to take mine to the street if I want to. I was going to ask the real guy, how does he let the garbage people, the sanitation people know which houses they come to if they want backyard?
How do we let them know?
Yeah, how do they know?
We set that up when we set the account up. It's out there.
They're automatic.
Their garbage truck.
Well, I like
Yeah.
a flag or a bid or whatever. It gives me an option. If I want to tote it out there, then I can tote it out there. If I get too old to quit toting it out there, I'll pay $10 a month extra. You can come in my backyard and get it. But for an increase, I live on 27th Street. I got 2 houses. I don't even know if they pay bed tax. 19 people were in it one day last year. 17 in this one. There's 15 in the one next to me. There's 3 cans out there. They're overflowing. I think we need to get a plan, either get the cans in place, get the tipper, and then decide if we can all, if I want to tote it out there, I can. If you want us to come to the backyard, then for $10 a month extra, yeah, we'll come to the backyard. Whether it's a flag or a fluorescent disc on the corner of the house, I don't know. There's no one answer.
Okay.
I have a question, I have 2 things. Can I ask Justin a question? How much does Waste Pro charge for backyard pickup?
I should have come prepared.
About?
In my head.
I think it's $10.
I know it's $8 additional for a can or to go to backdoor service. And I want to say the once a week service year round is somewhere in the area of $26 a month.
26 a month, okay.
Somewhere in that area.
For backyard
Once a-
service,
once a-
26
Once a week, there you go.
For once a week.
Once a week.
Curbside, 1860.
There you go.
No.
$8 a month, okay, all right. Then the other thing,
$8 back door.
$8 backdoor, $8 additional can.
Make it up the same price, so.
One can.
It's a big can, it's
I got lost. 18 plus 8 plus 10? Is that what it said?
That's 8 either way. It's 8 backdoor, 8 additional can.
And if you have an additional can and back door, it'll be 16 plus 18? Okay.
Yes. Actually, C plus, this number times 2,
Probably
once a week.
just as many as.
And once a week.
Not that many.
So
The rate would be.
back door, 2 cans, once a week, $35.
and then I have something else, and Mary, correct me if I'm wrong. When Mary did that extensive contacting of coastal cities, if I'm correct, we have many different ideas because 98 is different from 37, 37th is different from my street, Tom Street, whatever. But if I'm correct in what Mary found out, that some of the cities have different
And to, again, comment on that, you know, when you see these trucks with the tippers, they go by and pick them up. You ever notice they go down the side of the street one way and they come back up the side of the street the other way? We've got 20, 30 streets over here that only go down and don't come back. And the only way you can even get the truck in there to pick up the trash is back it down the street. And the tipper's only on one side, and the tipper doesn't work on the street that way unless you're gonna carry your trash across to your neighbor's yard, and that ain't gonna happen. So that doesn't work. We're looking at technology. How about a truck that tips from both sides? But we're also looking at, we're paying $170,000 for a truck with a tipper. When you get into real fancy trucks, they go to $300,000, $400,000, and $500,000.
Okay, even Justin, then on the backyard pickup, what you gonna charge? Is that gonna include the handicap, the elder?
No, that's free.
Well, how are you gonna determine?
Well, we
You got this city, you got
We haven't
almost
gone that
everybody else.
specific. We haven't gotten that specific.
So, I mean, but it starts more to charge for this. And I'm telling the council right now, I've been told by many council members, you should listen to the citizens. Everybody's told me that one time or another. Y'all are not listening to the citizens.
You told me that when I got.
Thank you.
Could you do the tourist residential section of town one way and then do the residential section, like starting at 8th Street on to 15th Street? I think Mary even mentioned this one time. I mean, we're all residential down there. The tourist is totally different down here. They can get all that little pickup. And then the residential section can get the timber.
I think that's been the common theme throughout. I know that everybody wants to talk about their specific house, we get that, but sometimes I feel like we're speaking and not being heard, and I know you feel the same way, so we're in the same boat. We're saying the same thing. Tom stood up there and said, one size does not fit all, one ordinance. We screwed up, we admitted that, we backpedaled, and so we are looking for ways to, number one, make the sanitation department not lose money. Number two, make the process more efficient, and make everybody somewhat happy. I will tell you right now, any decision that we make, somebody will be upset about. We get it. We understand that. But what we're all saying, and all of you are saying the same thing, we're agreeing with you that backdoor doesn't have to work. Many of you in here said you pull it out to the curb already. Curbside is working for some of us. Backdoor is working for some of you. What we're trying to do is figure out a way to make our sanitation department do all of that, and it is achievable, whether it be for an additional cost or not. We haven't figured that out yet. We haven't gotten to the specifics of how to identify homes, but it's all achievable because other places do it. So we're all saying the same thing, is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. We're all saying the same thing.
Mayor, can I say something, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
What's wrong
Yes,
with a person wants to set out his garbage, and they can set it out there, and you see it sitting out there, they pick it up. Otherwise, they go in the backyard, and what's wrong with that? That's the way it's worked before.
I've lived here since 2004, and I always carry my garbage cans to the street when they need to go to the street.
Agreed. And we've always done that too. I do it out of courtesy to those garbage guys. No other reason, because I know it stinks, the truck stinks, it's a heavy job, so I just bring it out to the curb.
Well, why don't you just ask people to automatically put their garbage in I use those black drums and bags. Make them put a bag in their can, tie it up, and the garbage man will pick it up and carry it on.
And I don't want to get technical, but we really ask the garbage guys not to pick up bags. We want them to pick up cans and dump it because of,
Is that what you're saying?
I'm sorry?
I can't pick
I'm talking about, I don't want people to leave trash out in bags for two reasons.
No, we're not talking about leaving them out.
Yeah, but some people are talking about, they just go behind the house and take the bags and go on and don't worry about the cans. That,
They're in a can. We have our cans in the backyard. I've been there for 20 years.
I got that. One step further, sometimes they don't carry the can, they take the bag. I don't want them to do that. There could be sharps in there.
You want them to take our cans out?
I want them to take the garbage to the truck in a can because of the sharps
Well,
get stuck.
that's okay with me.
Not good.
Mayor?
But I know they do it now. I know they do it, but they're not supposed to.
Trying to save us.
That's all over OSHA. We won't even go there, okay?
Mayor,
That's-
can I say something, even though I'm sitting up here because
Oh, okay.
Mr. Driver threatened me when I came in. For 4 years, I managed a sanitation department in Kentucky. One reason we didn't like our guys to pick up the bags, needles, hypodermic, whatever. We had a college town. We had some drugs going on there. This was back in the 1970 AD, I guess. But a lot of these things that I see here, I dealt with then, but the uniqueness of this community makes it difficult to come up with something and write it in stone. And I thought there was a way to do that, but first of all, let me do this. Rex and I had nothing to do with this. Because, of course, nobody voted for me, and nobody voted for Rex. Remember that. We just kind of waltzed in here. But,
Beat him now.
yeah, I'm paying for it in the long run. So, and the corral thing, we had that problem in 1972 in Kentucky. They had some nice corrals built. You run across, and these guys have to pick them straight up. Well, stop and think about picking a 32-gallon can straight up, and you do it week after week after week, and then somebody throws in there something that weighs 125 pounds, and your guy comes over and he picks that up, and there goes his back. Workers' comp is not forgiving. I like the corrals where you slide the garbage cans out, but when you start picking up routinely, you know, most of the stuff I have, like most of you all, is my wife and I, we have maybe one full can a week, except when the grandkids were here, and then I needed a garbage truck. But, yes, sir.
I'd like you to leave this office, this meeting, and meet me at the end of 37th Street and show me what the city corrals and their area, and show me what you think about how y'all are doing, for setting an example on how to handle the garbage.
I don't think we're doing anything right now.
And I want you to be able to walk across that 3 inches of muck that's coming out of the garbage can water. It's a health hazard. People having to walk through that crap. Don't you, if you'll do that.
I've done that.
I'm talking about right now.
I don't know that I'm not trying to be adversarial here. I worked on. No, sir, I've hauled garbage in for 2 weeks when we had 27 inches of snow on the ground in Murray, Kentucky. And I know what it's like getting in and out of a garbage truck. Yeah, I know, we're not gonna have snow. I'll shut up.
Just one comment about picking up garbage sacks at the street. I own a house in a little town called Arlington, Texas, about 500,000 in population. Anything you put down on the street on garbage day is gone. You put a garbage can out there, it goes in a garbage truck. Everything goes in plastic bags, and they deal with it, and they got the same liability that we have here in Mexico Beach. You don't need to throw it out just out of hand, in my opinion.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
You were talking about needles and Sharpies in the garbage. The health department has rules and regulations of how to dispose of that. You don't just dump them in the garbage.
I agree. But
Do that, especially people that are using drugs. Any
Yes, ma'am, I agree, but I can't guarantee anybody does that from their
I
home.
guarantee it, most responsible people
We are,
who use it for medical.
we've had 2 claims of garbage men being stuck by sharps this year. I didn't know that exact fact, but thank you. Adrian is our risk manager, in case you didn't know.
That may be drug people, I don't know, but for medical reasons, people will do it right.
This is a very difficult subject. That's why we've got a great, vast number of people here that have different ideas, different concepts, and that's why we're writing it down.
Let me ask you another question, Mayor. In the past, the garbage department made money. Why did we lose $100,000? What happened if we lost that where in previous years we were making money because we never had any problems?
I don't know the exact answer to that. As you know, all of the expenses are put in one pot, and all the money we take in is put in a different pot, and when the audit came around for the 13-14 year, the two did not match. It was $100,000 short. So that would, either something happened to rates, like tipping fees went up or something like that, I don't know. But, you know, as you do know, though, month after month, you can't track what it's going to be at the end of the 12-month period. It's just a very educated guess of what you've done in the last 2 or 3 years. Like I said, we're picking up 300 more cans of these 50 houses. So you know we've got a lot more tipping. And I think we're paying a little bit more now than we used to.
So we didn't audit that year to see where the problem was. We just said, well, we lost a bunch of money, we're gonna go do something different. We didn't figure out where, or why we were short.
Well, the numbers is not obvious by the numbers. It's not obvious. So I don't know the answer to that question. What you do, you take all the expenses and you divide it by 2,112, the number of customers, and you put it on bills. But then when people cut off, the operating and sanitation goes on just the same, whether we're picking up 1,500 cans or 2,000 cans. The operation cost is still the same as far as personnel, trucks, and all that kind of thing. Still going to every street, every house, whether they're there or not. Though it's very difficult to find exactly where that is. But when you have a budget that's several $100,000, it's not unusual to be that far out of whack. Our budget this year is looking about $3.3 million.
Sydney and those guys do a great job. They come by, and if we're not there, we go back to Georgia for a week or two. They'll set my garbage can lid in sideways, and they can see my lid from the road, and they know not to come and pick it up. I take mine to the road every time, except when we're not in town. And by putting that lid in sideways, they automatically know that there's no trash in there because I don't have it on top. I mean, that's works for them.
Yeah.
You know,
They turn,
works
yeah.
for them, works for them.
They turn some upside down, put some lids
Yeah.
upside down, some in the can, and yeah, that's their little code.
Right. That's what I'm saying. We need to have them down here telling us what they need to do.
Oh, I hate to tell you this. Guess where we got the idea of curbside? From the garbage men. Said, that's the only thing we want you to do for us. Please have them bring the cans to curb so we don't have to go look at every house. And we did. And that wasn't a good idea, apparently. There's others that haven't spoken at all.
Randy, you have a question?
I've got a shining face back there. I just know he's got a question.
How big a factor is the tipping fees? And if that is a big part of the $100,000 difference or whatever
Yeah.
it was, it seems to me if we could work with the, especially with the businesses, the rental companies, the rental offices, and the restaurants, and Gulf Foods and all that, getting them to recycle a lot of their things that are now going in the trash truck, we might be able to lower it pretty significantly.
Believe it or not, recycling costs more than garbage pickup. And
Excuse me,
recycling costs more than garbage pickup.
you mean because all this time that I'm spending separating my cans and my plastics and my papers, carrying them down to the bins, is a big waste of my time.
I'm afraid it
Those
is.
bins.
They're not ours.
Come on.
Not ours. They belong to Bay County. It is to, those bins are placed there.
It's our property, it's a city property.
We don't maintain them, we don't empty them,
Are we paying the county?
we're not paying a dime.
We're not paying them to take them to the incinerator, so we're not paying tipping fees on what goes into those dumpsters, though. Is that
Yes,
correct?
but it's a tiny amount.
Everything then, not just for all the recyclables and put them in those bins, and that'll help with tipping fees.
I will not say yes to that. It's a very good question.
No,
See stuff sitting down there all the time, it looks like some people already.
But-
Well, yeah, that's very nice.
well, I appreciate what you're saying, but the truth is, we picked up 500,000 pounds of garbage the 4th of July week. 500,000 pounds in Mexico Beach. And think about that. That's like 500 pounds of garbage for every man, woman, and child who lives here full time in 1 week. We've had a ton of folks here. I'm guessing 13,000. I think it's a good educated guess. There was nothing in town that anybody could sleep in that wasn't occupied over that week. But the recycle over there, and I'm going to say this again at this meeting, even if you get 75 soda cans and you put them in a plastic bag and you carry them over there and put them in the aluminum drop box, if you don't take them out of the bag, the guy opens the lid, said, plastics mixed in this, and they carry it to the incinerator. Because they don't have a separation facility. So if you don't read the thing on the thing and only do what it says, it goes to the incinerator.
Takes one rotten apple.
One rotten apple and it spoils the whole bag.
So I don't have to feel guilty if I quit taking stuff.
You do not. You do not.
Well, my wife is glad you do that.
And it's actually a very good compromise. Like I said, it's a state-approved plan for Mexico Beach to participate in the incineration project that generates electricity. That's a state-approved plan, and we're 2020 compliant with recycling. Yes, ma'am.
But when we recycle, the way it was stated a little while ago was costing us money, but it's not costing Mexico Beach any money to recycle, correct? I
No,
mean,
that's not.
okay. So we can emphasize recycle more, and then our tipping fee for the garbage will be less for the everyday garbage, because we're not paying anything for recycling.
That, anything that's put in those bins correctly, if that bin is pure, it certainly takes off of something. But if you're looking to save money on tipping, it's $55 a ton. And if you fill up any bin over there, it may be a few hundred pounds.
So you're saying that the whatever is in the recycling bin, if it's not pure and it's not going to the recycle plant, then Bay County is going to charge the city for what is in that bin?
I did not say that. We don't have anything to do with those blue bins. It's Bay County bins, Bay County truck, they come get it, they haul it away. But we ask them, what do you do with it if it's contaminated? We take it to the landfill. We take it to the incinerator. Don't get too bent out of shape about that. That's not how to solve the trash pickup issue. What I don't want to see, now I'm going to philosophize, I do not want to see any rate increases for 2 years in a row. I do not want to see that. Yes, sir.
Tom, getting back to money, early on you said that the city allows temporary residents. I was a temporary resident for a long time here. I bought a house in 2003, moved down a year ago, become a full-time resident. I never turned my garbage on and off. I never turned my water on and off. I paid full fare, which I thought I should. But when I come down here, I expect to have garbage service, I expect to have sanitation, I expect to have food service. But didn't I hear you say that you allowed people to turn that service on and off if they were just temporary?
We've always done that.
Well, if you're looking, wait a minute, though.
Hold on,
And I
hold
have
on.
a point to make. If you're looking for money, you're looking for income, isn't that a logical place to look rather than to make us sacrifice our garbage pickup?
Absolutely. That's why we're talking about going to a base fee.
Well, I pointed out
Period.
the vision one time tonight, Paul,
If-
no one picked up on that and said, there's a good place to go, because as a homeowner here
Yeah.
for 13 plus years, I would have never thought of turning on and off. That's just appalling to me. I would never thought of leaving my garbage beside Bobby Pollock and driving home to Tennessee. I took it with me. That's a good citizen. So we maybe need to force some people to be good citizens.
236 people know that.
it's over $100,000 a year.
And we're worried about making these other people have garbage, strewed across their yards. I came across 22nd Street by the church this morning, garbage strewed from the church to 98. That's, yeah, it wasn't wind, come on, that's people leave their garbage outside the plastic bag.
No, actually, we did have a serious wind event
So
yesterday.
if you're looking for money, let's go with the obvious money, that's a no-brainer.
And we are talking about that in our budget.
That,
About starting to, and as Tom mentioned.
And who would brag about that? I'm just appalled.
240 people.
No, maybe that's a privilege on a home place like that.
And I did the same thing.
I agree with you. I'm just like you. I've been here since in Mexico Beach since 2000, never turned it on and off once. Just paid my money, kept going. But it's gotten higher through the years, and it gets a little sensitive to people when it gets a little higher.
How did these people notice to have it disconnected? Were they told by City Hall? Because I know a lot of people here that own, that don't live here, and they are just shocked to find out they could have all these years been paid a very small amounts of $109 a month. How did people find out you could do that?
Back in the old days, my mom's had a place here in 62, and that's what they did, was when they went home, because the water pipe was over, and they wouldn't know about it until they got back down. So they cut the water off, went back to Georgia, come back down here, and turned the water back on, called the water department, and turn it back on, before she came down.
So
It still does. It still does the same thing.
Like, in say his mom's case, if I called and said I want it turned off, they said, oh, okay, you only have to pay this small amount of
Exactly.
payment.
We will tell you what date, we will read your meter that day, we will shut it off that day, when you come back, you pay us $15 if it's less than 30 days, 40 if it's more than 30 days.
So homeowners are, permanent homeowners are paying a big bill, and the second homeowners are paying a small amount.
Yeah, that's where we started this. That was Chuck's question. How do you deal with those folks who want to cut off? And if they have no usage, everybody understands, if they're not using anything, they don't have to pay for usage. But they do have to pay for the debt service, and they do have to pay for the operational costs of the availability of that product. If 240 folks want to still cut it off, they're going to save some money. But they're going to pay $56 base charge, which will eliminate the cash problem that we have in some of the other things. We do not have an availability charge for trash right now because we have no debt service there. Yes, sir.
If they turn the water off, does that turn the sanitation off too?
Yes, sir. Water, sewer, and sanitation and limb pickups turned off. And we do, it's easy to keep up with 240. It's not easy to keep up with 1,500. But we know who's turned off.
And how does the garbage truck know that?
They don't.
Philip Hall.
They still go by them.
Same guy's in charge of the whole shooting match. It's Public Works. Do you have any absolute solutions other than go back to the back door and pick it up? I know that's a solution. We wrote that down.
I think we should just everybody put their stuff to the curb. You know, we have old people that live in our neighborhood in Texas, they put their stuff to the curb. I don't think there's anybody here that can't do that. They would make it a-
So-
I totally disagree. Because there's like people next to me, unlike Tom, there's 2 full-time residents on our street, Circle Drive. My neighbor comes down odd times, he leaves on a Friday. If he takes it to the curb, it sits there Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
same problem
till
on our
Monday
street.
afternoon, and then I'm the trash guy to take the trash
We have the same problem.
back. And if he doesn't take it to the curb, we don't pick it up, then we're selling fish guts all those times. So
you've got trash, I mean, you can have a white one that you would raise up, or like any color you want to choose. And the garbage man, when he pulls up, if that flag's up, he knows to go back and get the garbage. If it's down, he knows there's no garbage there. So we're saving the manpower doing that. That would eliminate probably 20% of the work our men are doing, because they go behind every house, like right now, in the city. And if you did that, it would save, it would save a lot of less work.
Okay. Does everybody here now realize why it took us 6 months to come up with any change? And whether the change was right or not, and personally I think it was a mistake. I personally think the change was a mistake. Either the timing that we did it or the way we did it. Something was wrong with it, because the citizens didn't want to do it. And the garbage can men that we all love got mad at us and started to quit on us. Wow. And it's all because we simply asked people to bring trash to the curb. That's all we asked. So it's not as easy as one might think. But we've got to wrap this up in just 3 or 4 more weeks' time. We've got to wrap this up and make sure that we get it right this time, the best we possibly can. And whether it's zones, whether it's all back door, where it's a signaling thing, whether we hold the homeowners, where we hold the rental companies, well, it needs to be simple and easy. Everybody agree with that? Simple and easy.
If you go back to the old system we had, like Mike just said back there, start charging these people instead of giving them a break on it, they will pick up the money that you're losing. We won't have this problem, and these meetings won't be necessary.
That's true. I appreciate that comment. And I appreciate the people saying, I got 10, I got 12 next door to me. That's not how the garbage ordinance was set up. There is a usage formula. Just like Summer House down here says, if you got this size condo, you can only have 6 people in it. That's the rule, period. And they show up with 12. And now their HOA is going, whoa, wait a minute, we have a problem. So they're dealing with exactly the same issue that I'm talking about citywide. I get it, folks. Tourism is our only industry in Mexico Beach. It is our only industry in Mexico Beach. It drives all of the rest of the things in Mexico Beach. Do we cater to tourists specifically, to cater to them? Well, you know what? You better pay attention to who's coming to visit us, because they're bringing in money. Every store in this town operates because of tourism. Now, there's somebody in here, and I won't call him out, but he and I had a conversation the other day. He said, I don't care if any of them ever come again. And I might agree with him, because I got mine. I don't care if you get yours. You know, that's actually what the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce told me. We understand. Y'all got yours, and you don't want us. I said, okay, you understand, Rick. But
I've been coming here 42 years and been living here too. And, I think we need to recognize that it's not going to get any better. These 52 units are probably larger rental units that are generating more garbage and things like that. We may have to change some things, a lot of things, because I don't think it's going to get any easier or any better. And I've seen it change. I mean, there's a different animal coming here too than when I was coming 30-something years ago.
there is. It's different. But I will give you some good comments I had lately. We will be back in your town because we love your town. You have a family-oriented town. Panama City lost that. We can't lose that. We cannot lose that. We may have a lot more families, but we can't lose the fact that the reason he came here 42 years ago, the reason I came here 50 years ago, and I'm back to live here forever, is because it had that unique feel. We are unique. We're unique. We're not like anybody else. We're not Gulf County. We're not Panama City. We're different. So we got to get this right. And we're listening to all of you. We really are. We're not just bent on going one way. All the council is really listening to what you say. So we're going to try to get it right this time. Not everybody's going to be happy, guaranteed, but we got to figure out how to make most of the folks happy and that the system operate like a business should operate, one that is economical and efficient and effective. Okay? Anyone else? Thank y'all so much for coming. All of our phone numbers are on the website. Anytime you want to call us or email us, please do. Thank you.